Good morning, everyone. My name is Tammy Sadler-Jones. I'm the Assistant City Administrator, and I'd like to call to order the License and Variance Board meeting for Wednesday, February 22nd, 2017 at 10:01 a.m. Board members present: to my left is Roy Akery, the Fire Chief. To his left is Scott Stokes, the Director of Public Works. Heather Pekin-Corn is the Deputy City Clerk, and she will be taking the official meeting minutes. First item is a public hearing, variance request V17008, allow encroachment into city's 50-foot undisturbed buffer and 75-foot impervious setback, 0.50 acres, land lot 626, 1747 Cedar Ridge Court. Miguel Christek is the applicant. Is Mr. Christek here? Can you step to the podium, please? And for the record, can you state your name?
Miguel Christek.
Okay, and can you tell us about your variance request, please? And speak into the mic.
Okay.
You can lift it up.
We are building a deck. It's in the backyard, and that's it. The deck.
Okay. Can you go into a little bit more detail about the deck for us?
Yeah, it's what we didn't know is a stream buffer going there. So I asked where can I build it, and so it's just a wood deck, and it's gonna be above ground pool, so we're not gonna mess with the backyard or anything. We're just building on top.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? Okay.
Mr. Christek, I do have a question.
All right.
The site plan that we have, because you'd mentioned, stream buffers. There's several encroachment issues here, and one specifically, and I just want to clarify this. Excuse me, is the current sewer easement that runs behind your property, and the reason that I'm asking is because there's some hand-drawn stuff on the site plan that was submitted and that we're looking at it, and it looks as though that there is an encroachment into the sewer easement by an existing deck that surrounds an above-ground pool that exists now. Is that correct?
Yeah, that deck we're gonna take it out.
But does it still exist today?
Yes.
Okay, so when do you plan to remove that deck?
As soon as I get the permit.
Okay. Go ahead.
So there's an existing pool, above ground pool, and an existing deck around it, correct?
Yes.
And you're going to remove the existing pool. You're going to remove the existing deck around the existing pool.
Yep.
But then I heard you say a moment ago that you're going to put in another pool?
No, I mean, we're gonna move that to the other side.
All right, so you're going to move your
The pool and deck.
existing stuff away and put it somewhere else?
Yes.
And then build these decks? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I think, Mr. Christek, one issue that we're struggling with right now is that we're being asked to contemplate approving a variance request off of things that may or may not exist. That's why we have a site plan that's done by a surveyor that shows actual dimensions and actual locations. And we don't have that. We don't, what we have shows this above ground pool that you're going to have to move because of the stream buffer or because of the sewer easement, but it's not reflected on the plan anywhere. And that's kind of what we're struggling with. We have to have something concrete to make a decision.
It is
off of.
on the survey. It is the existing deck.
Right, and it's in the wrong place.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Well, I did a plan. There's a plan where the new deck is gonna be.
Right, but what we have reflects a hand-drawn version of where the new deck will be, but it does not include where the pool will be relocated to.
In the variance. Yes. Mm. So what you're asking is like a new plan, like a new survey with where the new deck
So-
is gonna be, right?
So what we're asking you is that you'll need to retain a land surveyor or a civil engineer, company, individual to redraw this thing, identifying all the attributes on the property, which is your stream buffers, our state buffers, the sewer mains that run through your property, the manholes that are all located on your property. All these attributes need to be on your plan, and professionally drawn where these decks are going to be located, where the pool relocation is going to be. In other words, we want an as-built as to what you're going to put out there when you're finished.
All right.
Right now, you've got an as-built of what's out there now, partially, plus hand-drawn decks. So we need something professionally drawn, showing all these distances and locations and all that. Then bring that to the Community Development Department. We'll review it at that point. If we need a little more information, then we'll ask for it then. If not, then we'll proceed with the variance application.
All right.
So at this point, we're probably going to want to table this particular application until you can get all this taken care of.
Sure.
So is there a particular, you want to, right now I think we probably ought to table this thing indefinitely until you can come back to us, because we don't want to rush you into the process, and we don't know how long this is going to take.
Okay.
Yeah, we hope that you understand that we're not opposed to
Yeah.
you. We're charged with making sure that things happen the way that they're supposed to happen.
Yeah, no
And we
problem.
can't do that without facts.
Sure.
So we're not trying to make this more difficult. We're trying to, this is to
I
help you.
understand.
Okay?
All right.
And then, if you want to call my office or the city engineer's office and just ask them, if there's a surveyor or a engineering company local, unless you already know of one, we can help you find one that
All right.
can help you out and knows what these what these attributes are that we're looking for.
Okay.
Okay?
No problem.
Well, at this time, Joey, is there a need for you to make any comments?
No, I don't have any further comments.
Okay, all right. Well, at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion that we table variance request V17008 indefinitely.
Motion to table variance request V17-008, allowing an encroachment upon a 50-foot undisturbed buffer and a 75-foot impervious setback, 1747 Cedar Cliff Court, table indefinitely.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we table variance request V17008 indefinitely. All in favor, please vote. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, thank you, and whenever you're ready, just follow up with our staff, please. Next item is a variance request V17010, allow increase in fence height from 4 feet to 6 feet on corner lot 0.22 acres, land lot 527, 1206 Kings View Drive, Taiwo Ogundupi is the applicant. And I'm sorry that I messed up your name. Please step forward. And for the record, pardon me, can you please state your name?
Taiwo Ogundupi.
Okay, thank you. Can you please tell us about your request, please?
Yeah, well, I live on the corner lot, so the front of my house is actually facing, so it's a cross street between Kings, Ki- Kings, King Springs and Kings View. So because it's a corner lot, my house actually faces, the front of my house faces Kings View, which is more of a side street. And King Springs is actually where the side of my house is and my backyard is. So what's happening, can you hear me?
I can hear.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's actually happening is that because it's a corner lot, the side of my house is considered also a frontage as well. And so the requirements for me to build my variance is for me to allow me to be able to build a 6-foot fence on the side so that I can actually cover up and have security and privacy for my backyard.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
Excuse me. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
So this is really just more of conversation so that we can make sure that we're on the same page, because what we have within the application is a set of existing pictures. So it's my understanding that the fence was beginning to be constructed, and that the city noticed and said that you have to come and be here today before you can continue. So there are some pictures within that process, and it shows post that I guess was part of the original plan of where the fence would be, and those posts, a lot of them are not in the right location. However, within your application, you've included a fence plan, and it's my understanding that the fence plan would be acceptable. I think that there's some things that we might want to talk to you about in the next few minutes about maybe moving because of the trees and the sidewalk and the stuff like that. But just for a point of clarification, the fence plan is really what we want to focus on, which would mean that some of the posts that are currently in the ground are going to have to move because they're simply just in the wrong place. Okay?
So I don't know if part of what you have is some more information, because I think I don't know what the biggest issue was, but I believe some of the issue was the fact that because of the location of the house and the location of where the actual fence was going to be, that it was actually going to block some of the road or vision.
Right.
So what I did do is I was taking the fence almost halfway up the side of the house.
Right.
Oh, I wanted to take it almost up the side of the house, and that would also because what happens is that my garage is also in the front of the side of the house as well. So my garage faces a church where obviously a lot of traffic comes through, and people just inadvertently park there and face my house. So the fence was actually going to block some of that. So I was actually just going to remove the post
Right.
from there altogether.
And that's I think we're saying the same thing. I just
Okay.
wanted to point out that what physically is in the ground today,
Yeah.
and what the fence plan, the way it's going to be, those two things are different.
Okay.
And we're going to discuss things assuming and with the condition that you build it
Okay.
towards the fence plan, and which is going to mean some posts that are in the ground now, because you've mentioned those that as you initially wanted to shield some, that poses several issues, one of which being sight distance issues for people trying to turn onto King Springs. So I just wanted to point that out. The way that it is now is going to have to change,
Okay.
and I think that we're going to be okay with some further discussion with the the fence plan that you've
Okay.
submitted. Okay.
You can have a seat on the front row, please, and then we'll have the staff, Joey Stobbs, make comments.
Joey Stobbs, Planner 2 with Community Development. The applicant is here for 1206 Kingsview Drive to allow an increase in fence height on the front yard from 4 feet to 6 feet. Property's at the intersection of Kingsview Drive and King Springs Road, and we've discussed this with the applicant about where acceptable locations of the fence could be that would not block visibility at the intersection primarily, and then where acceptable location of the fence could be on that King Springs side. And she has submitted what's in Figure 5 of the application to be the amended proposed fence plan. So, as has been mentioned, some of the current posts now might be in the right-of-way, meaning on the public side of the property, not the private side. But the fence plan has shown them to be inside the property line. There are existing street trees that were planted when the house was built, which may be right on the property line. We're not sure. So there may be some conflicts there with where the fence goes. It might go through the trees, but essentially if the applicant builds it as shown in Figure 5 in the staff memo, we support that variance request, and signage has been posted. Adjacent properties have been notified. We haven't heard any complaints, so.
Would you suggest that we make that a stipulation?
To build as per the site plan?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Any questions for the staff?
So on this, Joey, what's the hardship that the applicant has established?
Privacy and visibility, security issues from the yard being on a public road. If they were to build the fence on the building setback line, which is where someone can build a fence by right, it loses a considerable amount of the yard that could be fenced in.
Yeah, but the variance request is a contemplation of an additional 2 feet in height, right? That's the only.
Correct.
That's the only thing that we're contemplating for variance. So
A 4 foot
the
fence
privacy, to go from a 4 to a 6, because assuming it's built off of the proposed fence plan, which I do agree that we need to add as a stipulation, then that would increase the privacy and security into the backyard, because the fence is going to fence in the backyard.
Mm-hmm. There's a slight drop in grade from the right of way to where the fence will be, so it will look less intrusive as a 6 foot fence that was right up on the street.
Okay.
For the applicant, did you have any other comments?
Well, I think it's probably.
Speak into the mic,
I
please.
think it's probably okay now, but I know it was. We wanted to see if there was any opposition of any of the community, but the church and the houses, all the houses in the community and the house behind the house have all actually signed something in agreement. I don't know if I got it to you in time, but they did sign something.
Okay.
Okay, so I just had really kind of one more from me. You know, I've talked about the pictures with the posts that are currently in the ground and that versus the difference between the proposed fence plan, and really to kind of to further what I was talking about. The fence plan, when I say I think that it looks okay, because it is actually a survey which shows the pins on the survey and then the hand-drawn line of where the new fence would be. It looks like to me that where all of your posts are currently, and I'm looking at the pictures, it appears to be that even those that are already in your backyard, that are along King Springs, it appears as though those posts may be within the right-of-way. It looks like they're really, really close to, and this is just, by eye looking at a picture. Again, back to you're going to have to build the fence if this is approved as stated within the fence plan. And that might mean the posts that you have along King Springs all have to be moved. It just depends on, how it falls within the survey. Okay?
And then, we talked about site distance, and you mentioned site distance from the intersection of Kingsview Drive and King Springs Road. And our measurements indicate that, the fence cannot go in adjacent to your driveway like you mentioned. You're going to remove those posts. But we want, what, part of the motion I'm going to make will be that the post that's, I guess, where you're going to kind of butt the side of your house, there's a window on that side of the house.
Oh, my bathroom.
It looks like probably a bathroom window. We would want that post to be on the southern side of that window.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll have to look at the picture and
Oh,
try and understand.
Opposite the side that it's on.
Yeah.
And the reason for that would be so that we can ensure the sight distance.
All right. So where would it need to move? That card, this one?
They're talking about on this side of the window.
Oh, okay, so it'd have to move backwards, is that what you're saying? More that
It
way,
would start here and then
go backwards, okay. Okay, I just have to, I'll make sure that I know exactly what that is, just so I don't do it
Okay.
incorrectly. I think my biggest issue is that my bedroom is right there. So it makes it, at this point, I can't really even open my blinds because I'm on the street with everybody else. So those are, and what he said about the grade, it slopes down. So even though it's a 6-foot fence, it's significant slope that you can still see into it, but I would like some of it too. You know, I'd like to get some security and some privacy.
Well, I certainly agree with that. Now, when you're talking about your bedroom window, I'm looking at the picture. That's on the second story?
No, it's
On the
right
Oh,
there
it's on the first story. So
yeah.
that window that we're talking about? Well, you know, here's what has to happen. The safety of the public, of the driving public, has to be first. Okay,
Absolutely.
so that's why we're asking when this fence comes along King Springs and turns and stops into your house, it has to be a far enough distance away from the side street so that people turning onto King Springs can see the required sight distance. The only way that can happen is if that fence where it turns and touches your house on the southern side of that window.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And I think that we're going to put that in as a stipulation.
And would you accept that condition as a stipulation?
I would. I wouldn't mind someone maybe coming back out just to make sure that it really is blocking the view, because I'm not sure that it would be, even if it were on the maybe north side of the window. Does it just look that way? from
We
the
had
pictures?
staff go out and measure
Oh,
those
okay.
distances yesterday, which is why
Okay.
we're not just guessing.
Okay.
You know, this is, we actually measured it.
Okay.
And that's correct.
Okay.
And in order for it to be compliant within the bounds of the law, that's where it would have to stop.
Okay.
All right, this is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, please step to the podium at this time. All right, seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve variance request V17-010 to allow an increase in fence height from 4 feet to 6 feet on corner lot, 0.22 acre land lot 527 located at 1206 Kingsview Drive for the applicant. Ty, I apologize. With the following condition, that the fence be constructed in compliance with the fence plan as submitted within the application, and that appropriate site distances from the adjacent side street are within the bounds of state and local laws and ordinances. Make that in the form of a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V17010 with the stipulations as stated. All in favor, please vote. Okay. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Next item is a public hearing. Variance request V17011, allow side setback reduction from 10 feet to 4 feet, 0.37 acres, land lot 555, 3600 Lee Street, Peter and Diana Marino. Good morning. And for the record, can you state your name, please?
Yes, Diana Marino.
Okay, and Ms. Marino, can you tell us about your variance request?
Sure, we're hoping to extend the garage area and create a little bit of a family room. It also could be used as a bedroom when we are old and retired. But it's going to have a bathroom, a closet, and the space.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
So currently you have a garage, and
Yes.
you're just going to enclose it and make it a living space? So I guess you're going to just park in the driveway?
Correct.
Okay.
We're also thinking we'll eventually get a pad right near there or whatever.
Okay. All right. This time we'll have questions for the staff, and you can take a seat on the front row, please. Or comments from the staff, I should say.
Applicant is requesting a variance at 3600 Lee Street for a reduction of the side setback from 10 feet to 4 feet. This is an existing single-family home built in the 1950s. Is a pie-shaped lot with the house sort of at an angle, so it sits in the middle of the lot pretty far back, and it's not a rectangular shaped lot with the house in the middle, so that reduces the buildable area on the side of the house. So the applicant's requesting to build an addition to the house. There's an existing driveway there now with, I guess, a side entry garage. They're going to close that and build on the area that's already part of the driveway. So those would not add additional impervious area. It's just on top of existing impervious area. So we've reviewed the requests. Appropriate notification's been sent to adjacent properties, and signage has been posted. Haven't heard any complaints from the surrounding neighbors. We've recommended approval with just two conditions: that approval of the requested variance be conditioned upon the development of the property in substantial compliance with the site plan submitted, and 2 gutters and downspouts will be installed to divert stormwater away from the adjacent property.
Ms. Marino, do you accept the 2 conditions? Okay. All right. Any questions for the staff? All right. This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve variance request V17-011, allow side setback reduction from 10 feet to 4 feet, 0.37 acres, land lot 555, 3600 Lee Street, with 2 conditions. Condition 1, approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon the development of the property in substantial compliance with the site plan submitted with a variance application, and that number 2, the gutters and downspouts will be installed to divert stormwater away from adjacent properties.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V17011. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next item is a variance request V17012. Allow increase in fence height from 4 feet to 5 feet on corner lot 0.52 acres, land lot 526, 3571 King Springs Road, Quang Yai is the applicant? Yi, pardon me. And for the record, can you state your name, please?
Quang Yi.
Yi, thank you. And Mr. Yi, can you please tell us about your variance request, please?
Currently, we have a 4-foot wooden picket fence on the sides of we have a corner lot. It's off of King Springs Road and Cliffwood, yes. And we just want to raise it fence up to another foot, just for security reasons.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
What material are you going to build the fence out of?
It is going to be aluminum or iron rod. We think iron rod.
Okay. So the wood goes away and
Yes,
you
yes,
go
sir.
in the metal. Okay.
Yes.
And did you just state that the actual fence location will remain in the same location? You're just
Yes.
going to change the material type, and you're asking to add an additional foot?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, you can have a seat on the front row, and Joey Stobbs will make comments.
Applicant is requesting a variance 3571 King Springs Road to increase the fence height in front yard from 4 feet to 5 feet. There is an existing 4-foot fence around the perimeter of the property. The applicant is proposing to replace the current 4-foot wooden fence with a 5-foot iron style fence and use the existing columns that are there to support the new fence. There's also considerable slope down from the road to where the fence is posted, so it's probably 1 to 2 feet lower in grade than the road. We've reviewed the request. Signage has been posted. Adjacent properties were notified. Haven't heard any complaints or opposition to the request, so we recommend approval.
All right.
Joe, I've got a question.
Okay.
So the fence is not going to be opaque. It's going to be
Yep.
picket. It's going to be located in the same location as the wood fence. You just change the material type and just a foot higher.
Exactly.
Okay. Because I mean, we're ensuring sight distance on this one too. So if those items are met, then the sight distance is fine.
Right.
This is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve variance request V17-012 to allow increase in fence height from 4 feet to 5 feet on corner lot 0.52 acre land lot 526 located at 3571 King Springs Road. The applicant is Quang Yi. Motion does not include stipulations. Motion in the form of approval.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V17012. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V17013. Allow front setback reduction from 35 feet to 30 feet, 0.29 acres, land lot 376, 2621 Linwood Drive. Jose Gustavo Sassman is the applicant.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. And for the record, can you please state your name?
Jose Gustavo Sassman.
Okay. And can you tell us about your variance request?
Pretty much redid the front porch because the existing one was rotting and went wider, went towards the side of the house, and just making sure that it can be approved.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
Are you the property owner?
Yes, sir.
Do you have do you not have a survey plat of your property?
I do not.
So the drawing that you submitted is hand-drawn
By me.
dimensions that you've established?
Yes.
So these reference points, one question on one of the reference points is this front line. I know you don't have, maybe Joey can show you the drawing I'm talking about.
Right.
This front line, it says 80 foot wide, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The line, what line is that?
So
Is that the street? Is that the curb? Is that the front property line? What line is it?
the width of the 80 feet,
No, the line itself.
is right to the curb,
So
not
that's
the street
That's the curb?
where the dirt and the curb meet.
Okay.
So when you measured from the back of the curb to the house, and you noted 47 feet, and,
That's 47, correct.
yeah,
41 to the front of the porch.
but that's from the curb, which is within the measurement from the curb would be within the right-of-way. And it's similar to the first, you know, we're contemplating a variance request to allow a front setback reduction, so there would be some encroachment into the front setback line. But we don't, you know, we don't really have a survey to make an informed decision off of, I think, is kind of the issue. Are we encroaching? Is this actually encroaching into the setback? Is it not?
And all I can tell you is we rebuild the porch away from the house the exact same distance, and the stairs are actually not as far out because we turned them. The only thing to my knowledge was that we had gone wider. If there is encroachment, yes, I don't have a survey. I just based it on the curb, and I don't know what else to say.
Okay, well, I mean, unfortunately, we don't have enough information to give you an exact distance as to what kind of encroachment you do or don't have. So, you know, I guess we'll hear from staff, but, you know, I'm most likely going to make a motion that this thing be tabled and let you hire a surveyor to give you and provide us with the document necessary to establish what kind of setback violation we got out here.
Even though the previous stoop or front porch was the same distance.
Well, but
from
that's
the curb.
that's called existing non-conforming when it exists, you know, from years ago. But when you change it, then you're subject to, you know, variances and following ordinances. And understand that here's the hardship really for us, or kind of what we're struggling with, and it really helps you too. If we can't just say as a body, it's okay for you to encroach into the front setback distance boundary. We have to give a specific amount. So that's why the variance request says from 35 to 30 feet. But with you as the property owner, if we were to award this without a survey, then how do you even know? If we don't know, how do you know where that? What if you accidentally built it and it encroached an additional foot? Then technically you could be subject to some type of a citation, and we don't want for you to be in that scenario. And we're not trying to make things more difficult. We're trying to do things that protect the property owner and the city. You know, everybody has to follow the bounds of the ordinance. So that's kind of, again, like Scott said, we'll hear from staff and maybe shed some more light on this. But I'm not going to be really comfortable giving you a specific encroachment amount from 35 to 30 feet without some type of a survey that actually shows that. Because without that, we're kind of just guessing.
Well, Joey, would you like to make comments, please?
Applicant is requesting a variance at 2621 Linwood Drive to reduce the front setback from 35 feet to 30 feet for construction of a front porch. So this property is in an existing single-family home. To my estimation, the front of the property was built right at the front setback line.
And just for the clarification of the record, that's a different point of reference, because you're talking about 35 feet from the front setback and not 35 feet from the back of the curb.
Correct.
Right, okay.
Which I measured by using the aerial photography and estimating the property line from the center line of the road. This had an existing stoop, which was just stairs leading up to a platform for the door, because it's
Right.
the door is elevated. So, Mr. Sassman remodeled the porch entry and was issued a citation or a warning to get a permit because the the, the porch construction was not permitted at that time. So then he came into our office and we instructed him that he would need a variance in order to do this project. Because even if the proposal was just to rebuild it as it was, it would still need a variance because it was existing non-conforming.
Right.
By our estimation. So
So Joey, how did we as a staff come up with the need to allow front setback reduction from 35 to 30?
by using the aerial photography and measuring.
Estimation.
And the existing photograph from the tax assessor that showed the old deck. I mean, yeah, there was some estimation used, but the deck is the porch is the same depth as the stoop was. It's just longer along the front of the house. It does not extend any more than the stoop did towards the street. So I think there's probably 7 feet from the back of curb to the front property line. If you back that back to what he's proposed, it's really a setback reduction to probably like 32, 33 feet. And we're calling it 30 on the side of caution. But that was our recommendation, was approval of the deck as built currently.
Any questions for the staff?
Really, we didn't establish even what the right-of-way is on that road. I know there's no way it's 50 on that road.
I can't remember, it's probably 40.
Either 40 or 30, so that pushes that line even closer to the curb. I'm just at a point where I'm thinking he may not need a variance if he had a survey.
Well, that's the point. It just depends on where those boundaries are. I mean, right now, we're all just speculating.
Sure, and we've previously followed the same guidelines when we're considering weighing the costs to the applicant for an as-built survey for a variance that's costs much less than the survey itself. And we've given some discretion to staff to make those determinations until, if that's a change in policy that we're going to go by, then I need to know to apply that equally to everyone.
Well, I think just, since you made that comment, I would argue that anything that this body has done certainly has reflected an equal application from the first applicant to the last. Okay?
Yeah. I'm not accusing, just as we're accepting these applications, and I need to know what's acceptable. So otherwise, we don't get to this point where we have a hearing and have to get more information.
Well, for the applicant, it's been requested that we have a survey. How long do you think that you would need to get that? Because our next meeting is March the 8th or either March the 22nd. Oh, okay.
Sure.
Go
I
ahead.
don't have that answer. I would have to call a company and see how quickly they can get out. And the other thing I need to check is what the pricing would be for something like that. It is a rental property for me, so it doesn't really make me much money. It costs me money. So that was one of the things that I had talked to Joey about was, well, I need to do this. If I need to do this, then it might take me a couple months. But I don't have all the information.
Okay, all right. But it sounds like we Okay. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Wait, just a minute. This is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, please step to the podium. And if we can make a note, there's no one else in the room besides staff and the one applicant.
Make a motion to table variance request V17-013 to allow the front setback reduction from 35 to 30 feet to give the applicant opportune time to produce a survey of the property so we can determine the exact measurement of variance needed.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we table variance request V17013. Do we just want to do that indefinitely?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. It's been motioned and properly second. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously, and whenever you're able to, please follow up with the staff and we can get this back on the agenda if necessary.
Okay.
Thank you. Next item is approval of the minutes for the February 8th, 2017 meeting of the License and Variance Board.
Motion to approve the minutes of the February 8th, 2017 meeting of the License and Variance Board.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve the minutes for the February 8th, 2017 License and Variance Board. All in favor, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. I'd like to declare this meeting adjourned at 10:47 a.m. Thank you.